So come to standing, lift and roll the shoulders, and breathing in, turn the head to the left, come to the centre and turn the head to the right, into the centre, back to the left, through the centre and to the right. And bring the head back to the centre. Lift and roll the shoulders. Breathing in, bring the hands to the heart centre. And then circle the arms up. Clasp the hands, reverse. Press the feet into the ground and stretch the palms upwards. Breathing out, just slightly to the left. There's the option to bounce in and out. Breathing in as you press the feet into the ground, stretch up again and to the right. Bouncing in and out. Press the feet into the ground, stretch up. Slightly turn to the left. Press the feet into the ground and slightly turn to the right. Come back to the centre, release the arms and place the hands, lifting and rolling the shoulders onto the waist. Just connecting to the breath. Just subtly bend the knees and feel the abdominal area, the lower abdominal area contract. Neck long, looking along the ground. Press the feet into the ground and come to standing again. And then go the opposite way and testing our balance today by lifting the heels. And then breathing out, lower the heels to the ground and release the hands. Just bring the hands to the point where the shoulder, collarbone meets the sort of shoulder, that little triangle. And just very gently tap your K27. In energy medicine, it's a little bit more rigorous or vigorous. It's a real thump. So whatever works for you. And then just release the hands, lift and roll the shoulders, and clasping the hands behind you, aim the knuckles to the ground and open the shoulders. Even lift the arms slightly away from you. Just turn slightly to the left, come to the centre, and turn slightly to the right. Come to the centre. And then this is optional. Tummy in, soften the knees, and come forward, just checking that the head is long, neck is long. Option to raise the arms above you. And then press the feet into the ground and roll up. Release the hands and lift and roll the shoulders. And then option to either hold the wrists or hold the elbows or go into reverse prayer. And if you can, open the elbows out to the side. That's more difficult. Turn to the left, come to the centre, and then turn to the right and come to the centre. Soften the knees, this is optional, and come forward. Checking that the elbows don't drop to the ground if that's possible. Press the feet into the ground and roll up vertebra by vertebra to standing. Release the hands. Just lift and roll the shoulders and circle the wrists in one way, one direction, and then circle the wrists in the other direction. And just open and close the fingers. Lift and roll the shoulders, pressing the feet into the ground. Breathing in, raise the right hand. Press the feet into the ground again. And breathing out, turn the head to the left, away from the raised right arm. And stay here for an in and an out breath. Breathing in, come to the centre with the head. And breathing out, lower the right arm. Lift and roll the right shoulder. Breathing in, raise the left arm. Stretch up the left hand, press the feet into the ground. Breathing out, turn the head to the right. Stay here for an in and an out breath. Bring the head back to the centre and breathing out, lower the left arm. Lift and roll the shoulders. Bring the hands together at the palm centre and then push the hands away from one another, stretching out the arms, lifting the chest. Turn to look beyond the left hand. Come back to the centre with the head and turn to look beyond the right arm. Come back to the centre. Open the palms upwards, almost so that you aim the thumb to the floor and the little fingers come up. And then turn the palms back down and lower the hands. Lift and roll the shoulders. Hands together at the heart centre. Breathing in, circle the hands up, palms meet. Bring the hands through the centre, bend the elbows, bend the knees. Hands onto the shins, half lift. Breathe out, bend the knees and bend the elbows. Back to half lift. Stay here as you breathe out. And breathing in, soften the knees, press the feet into the ground and roll up vertebra by vertebra to standing. And raising the arms up. Stretch the fingers so that the thumb is facing behind you and the little fingers are towards the front. And then lower the hands. Breathing in and breathing out, bring the hands together at the heart centre. Circle the hands up. Press the feet into the ground, palms touch. Breathing out, bring the palms through the centre as you bend your knees. Hands onto the shins. Press the hands onto the shins, breathing in a half lift. Breathe out, soften the knees. Breathe in, half lift. Stay here as you breathe out. And breathing in, roll up vertebra by vertebra to standing. Stretching the hands up and just circling the wrists down. Bringing the hands to the heart centre. And we're going to come to lying on our backs, knees can be bent and hip width apart. And we start the mindfulness practice. Which we're going to start off with knees bent again, feet hip width apart. Just resting the hands on the abdomen and the elbows have been out slightly. So becoming very gently aware of the breath. The elbows out are giving space for our breath. Checking that the back of the neck is long. And just noticing any movement as the abdomen rises and falls with the in and the out breath. Breathing in, and as you breathe out, just breathe out subtly through the mouth. In your own time, breathing in through the nose and breathing out subtly through the mouth. And do that for a couple of breaths. And then very gently raise the hands to open the elbows wider and rest the hands comfortably on the ribs. And become aware now of the ribs moving into the hands as you breathe in and out. And again, we can just do a few breaths, breathing in through the nose and breathing out through the mouth. And then release your hands, placing them palms down alongside you. And imagine now a clock at your pelvis area, so as if you tip your tailbone towards the 12 of the clock. So in other words, you're lifting your lower back up, that's 12, away from you. Your 6 o'clock is towards your navel, as you would press your back into the ground. And then your 9 o'clock would be to the left. And you can move your knees as you go towards the left, and then your 3 o'clock would be towards the right. So just start by gently moving your knees slightly away from you to come to your 12 o'clock. And then very gently come in the opposite direction towards 6 o'clock as you flatten your back towards the ground, almost as if you're going to lift the bottom. Come back to neutral and let the knees drift over to one side. It doesn't really matter, I'm going to the left. And then come back to the centre. And just let the knees drift a little bit or a lot over to the other side. And then come back to the centre. Tilt your pelvis again to your 12 o'clock. And then moving your knees to come to your 1 o'clock. And then 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock, 4, 5, and your pelvis is tilting now towards the navel, your 6. The knees move to your 7, 8, 9, 10, your knees move away, 11, and back to your 12 o'clock. And then move in the opposite direction to your 11 o'clock, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and back to 12. And then just relax to be neutral. And then open your hands in either a T, or if that's too much, in an A, palms down, and let both knees drift over to the right. Your left hip will lift. And turn your head to the left. Your knees may or may not come down to the ground. Just taking an in and an out breath here. And then engage the abdomen back towards the spine, and your perineum will generally follow as you lift the knees back up, right, and then let the knees drift over to the left. And your head can turn towards the right. And take a couple of breaths here. Tummy in, engage the perineum as bring the knees back to the centre. Bring the arms in. You can adjust your feet if you need to, and just gently hug the left knee into the chest. Drop the hands behind the left thigh and gently raise the left leg up to the ceiling. You can keep the left knee bent if that's more comfortable. And then start to circle the left ankle in one direction. And then start to circle the left ankle in the other direction. And then walk the hands up the back of the left leg, bringing the left leg towards you. And then just massage the hands down the back of the left calf, up towards the knee or even further. And then hug the left knee into the chest. Still holding the left knee. In your own breath time, let it drift to arm's length. And hug it in. And do that a couple of times to your own breath pattern. Breathing in, letting the knee drift to arm's length, still holding it, and bringing it back. And then hugging the left knee into the chest, supporting the left leg to let the left foot connect back down onto the mat. Just sway the knees a couple of times from side to side. And then focus on the right knee as you hug the right knee in to the chest. Apana energy. And then dropping the hands to underneath the right thigh. Gently raise the right leg to the ceiling. The knee can be bent. And then circle the right ankle a few times in one direction. And then circle the ankle a few times in the other direction. And then walking the hands up the back of the right calf, and then just stroking along the calf towards the knee, or even beyond the knee to the upper thigh. And then hugging the right knee into the chest. And in your own breath pattern, breathing in, let the right knee extend away from you to arm's length. And breathing out, hug the right knee into the chest. And do that a couple of times, just checking that the back of the neck is long. You're not sticking your chin up to the ceiling too much. Again, working on that apana energy, that lower foundational energy, which can get particularly stuck at this sort of slowish, sluggish time of year. And then hug both knees into the chest and just very gently rock from side to side. And then hug both knees into the chest, and still holding them in your own breath pattern, let both knees drift away to arm's length. Hugging both knees in, both knees drift away. And just do that a few times in your own breath pattern. And then in your own time, we're going to roll to one side to come to hands and knees. Take your time. There's not one to do the gentle work that we've been doing. And we're going to come into hands and knees in cat. And have the focus on your tummy and make circles in one direction. So you're circling your hips. Imagine circling your navel one way, which will draw the navel up as you circle one way. Almost half cat-like as you slightly arch. And then very gently circle the other in the other direction. And then come to neutral. You might like to have your knees fractionally apart, it's an option, and your big toes fractionally together to come into a child's pose, an extended child's pose with the arms in front of you. Your bottom comes towards the heels. Tummy in, and think of leading with the heart as you come through with the chest back to tabletop. Feel that you can adjust your knees to suit you. Slightly round the back, bottom towards the heels in child's pose, extended child, swan's pose. And then leading with the heart, as you breathe in, coming forward, back to tabletop. And again, a couple of times in your own breath pattern, circling, rounding the back, bringing the bottom towards the heels, stretching out. And breathing in, leading with the heart. Please modify if cat, cow, or this variation isn't good for you. And then coming back to, when you do come back to all fours, tuck the toes, and we're going to come into a very soft downward dog. So tummy in, or lower abdominal muscles engage slightly towards the spine. Perineum engages up slightly. Lift the knees off the ground and feel that you're extending your back so your bottom pushes away from you, lengthening the spine, and bottom then goes upwards. You begin to unbend your knees and aim the heels gently towards the ground. They don't have to reach the ground. And then think about walking the dog. And then walk the feet to the hands to the feet. Feel that you can bend your knees to support your torso. And then very gently press the feet into the ground to come up vertebra by vertebra, rolling up to standing. Lift and roll the shoulders and turn the head to the left as you breathe in and to the right as you breathe out. And again, left as you breathe in and right as you breathe out. And come to the centre. So as it's you, I'm going to do some salute to the suns. So hands together at the heart centre. Breathing in, stretching the hands up, palms together. Breathing out, bring the palms through the centre. Bend the knees as much as you need to, hands either side of your feet. Step back with your right foot. For a moment, stay high. Tummy in, left foot. You're staying high in plank for a nanosecond before you drop your knees to the ground. I'm going to bring the bottom slightly backwards to come forwards onto my elbows, tummy in, and then to come to lying on my tummy. And stretch the hands out in front, really stretching out. Just tapping the tops of my feet on the floor. And then sliding the hands back towards the chest, elbows in, press down on the hands, come back to kneeling, tucking the toes, coming to downward dog. Feel that you can adjust your feet to wider than hip width apart and also bring the feet towards a little bit closer to your hands. Walk the dog. And this time, walk your feet to your hands to your feet. Press the feet into the ground, soften the knees, roll up vertebra by vertebra to stand. Circle the hands up, stretch the fingers, and then lower the hands. Inhale, exhale, hands together at the heart center. Circle the arms up, stretch the fingers, palms together. Come through the center, bending the knees. Hands to either side of the feet. Keeping it high as you step back with the left foot. tummy in, right foot, you're in plank, heels up to the ceiling for a nanosecond, bring the knees to the ground, thus you're a chaturanga babe, and then elbows slightly in to slide onto the elbows, coming onto your tummy in sphinx, and then sliding the hands out in front of you. And this time slightly roll from side to side, pressing one palm down, slightly shifting onto one hip, pressing the fingers down and just slightly rolling onto the other hip. And then coming back to the centre, sliding the hands back towards the chest, pressing the palms down, elbows in, tummy in, perineum engages slightly as you come back to kneeling. Tucking the toes, feel that you can adjust the hands at any point closer to you, coming to your downward dog, adjusting your feet to work for you, and walking the dog. Even here, tummy is engaged up slightly towards the spine, about 10 to 20% of your total capacity, and perineum is in. And then begin to walk the feet to the hands. Hands to the feet. And just hold your big toes with your second and third fingers, completing a circle of energy. Just slightly wiggle, you're bringing your right elbow sort of slightly forward, just a twist from side to side. And then soften the knees, press the feet into the ground, and roll up vertebra by vertebra to standing. Raising the elbows up, and join the thumbs as you just very gently go from side to side. Come to the centre, lower the arms, and just a breathwork exercise we've done before, lifting the palms upwards, raising them out, bringing the palms back, upwards, turning them down, pushing away, bring them back and lower. Palms up, back, palms down, push away, come back and lower. Palms up, back, away, and lower. Palms up, back, away, and then last one, palms up, back, away, and lower. Lift and roll one shoulder, lift and roll the other shoulder, lift and roll both shoulders. Turn the head to one side, left maybe, doesn't matter, centre, and breathing out, turn the head to the other side. And then making a subtle fist with your hand, right hand, thumb out. Just follow your circle follow your thumb with your eyes as you circle your hands a couple of times in one direction. So this becomes a mindfulness exercise again, and then release. Make a gentle fist with the other hand, and again, circle. Lift and roll both shoulders back. Bring the palms together, the tips of the fingers touching, Akini Mudra, and just gaze to the tips of the fingers. Another mindfulness focus, or in this case mudra. And then bring the palms together. We're going to come to lie on our tummies, back to Sphinx pose. Knees are, so on the elbows, knees are slightly wider apart. And then elbows out to the side. Bend the knees. Rest the head down and just sway the knees from side to side. Swaying the feet from side to side to windscreen wiper washer. Circle the ankles in one direction and then in the other direction. Release the knees back to the ground, and you might like to bring the knees slightly closer together. Come to pressing on your hands, coming back to kneeling onto your knees on all fours. And then slide your left leg forward. This is a half pigeon. Right leg back. You can come up onto your hands if you want to and just feel the opening of the hip. Hoping this is good for you. I mean, do say it's not. And then there's the option, tummy naturally is stretched, to lean forward. It is an option over the left knee. And the hands can stack one on top of one another, or they can stretch out, depending how much you like your pigeon variant. I'm going to stack one hand on top of the other so that my forehead is resting on my fists. It's not quite so far down. I quite like to just rock slightly from side to side. If you particularly are a devotee of pigeon, of course you can always have your left knee out a little bit more to the left. Just enjoy the sensation in your hip. And I hope I explained this. So then just to come out, drop onto your left side, your left knee stays bent. Pick up your right leg and take it over your left, so you're in a fish pose. Just hold your right knee. You'll feel that in your right outer hip. And then hold your right knee with your left hand behind, and just turn to look over your right shoulder. Come back to the centre. Unravel your right leg so that you're back onto almost your hands and knees. Come up onto your hands and knees and tabletop. And this time, your right leg goes slightly forward and you slide back on your left leg so that you're in half pigeon on your right side. And again, you can opt to come up onto your hands, up onto your fingertips, and you can stay here. But if you like the sensation of coming forward, then walk your hands forwards wherever it suits you. You can have your hands in fists, so that your forehead's on top of your fists, or you can stretch out further. If you particularly want to have your right knee more out to the right, and your right toes more to the left and more in a pigeon, please do that. And again, I quite like to rock slightly from side to side, just taking my right hip to its edge. Really getting into the hip joint. And then to come out of that, just place your hands to either side of you. Drop your right hip to the right, leaving that where it is. Take your left leg and step your left foot over your right knee. Hold your left knee with both hands. And then keep your right hand on your left knee and your left hand goes behind you. A twist as you breathe and lengthen and breathe out. Turn to look over your shoulder or towards your shoulder. Tummy in as you bring yourself back. Hands to either side of you as you stretch your feet out. And maybe lift the flesh out from under your bottom. It's going to be a forward bend, toes up to the ceiling. Raise the hands upwards. The choice is either come straight over, which I think is quite strong on the back, tummy in, or bend your elbows, which is a softer version, to slide the hands down, the shins, down to maybe holding your big toes, maybe holding the outside of your feet, whatever works for you. There's always the option to slightly bend the knees, but that then is not necessarily as satisfying as stretching your legs out. So it's a free choice. Forward bend, calming for the nervous system. And then tummy in to just gently walk your hands up the legs and come to a cross-legged position. As we come to finish. Breathing in, sitting up, hands on the knees. Breathing in, gently lift, bending at the elbow, the right hand, and open the hands towards the right. Breathing out, bring the hand back to the right knee. Sit up as you breathe in and open your left hand to the left. Breathing out, come to bring your left hand back to the knee. And just a few times in your own breath pattern, opening out as little or as much as you would like. Moving slowly to reflect the breath. And then stay with your hands on your knees, and we'll come back to that breath of breathing in through the nose and out through the mouth. And if you can, adopt a count of breathing in for 3 and breathing out through the mouth for 5. If you can't manage that, that's fine. Just go with what's comfortable in your own breath pattern. In through the nose and out through the mouth for 5. The chin is very subtly towards the ground. Back of the neck is subtly extended. And then gently finish the breath that you're on. Just come back to your normal breathing. And then to finish, just bring the hands to the heart and take a bow for yourself. Thank you for joining me today.